Hello everybody, welcome to Rebreak Radio, episode 33. This is a show about video games, entertainment, technology, and anything else that I want to talk about. My name is Dennis, and today I'm joined by Leo.
Yes, hello.
And Carl.
Hello, I'm back.
Yes, he told you last week that he was going to be back.
I'm back.
Yeah, he ended the last episode with the Terminator. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
You didn't lie.
Well, I didn't drive a car through the door, at least.
You should have.
I should have.
There's always time to
We're on the second floor,
make changes.
so it would be hard.
Yeah. So, how are you all doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm pretty tired. We're recording this late in the afternoon. Been a long days of work, but I'm eager to start the podcast.
I am a very tired man. Because I'm in one of those slumps, one of those weeks where you just don't have any energy to do mental or physical work.
What a year this week has been.
Indeed.
Yeah.
This week has been an entire Monday.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I felt like I got a lot of work done today.
Yeah, same though.
Yeah.
I did not. But hey, that's how the cookie crumbles for me sometimes.
So the topic today, usually we go through what we've been playing recently, but I changed things up for today. So we're going to start with the recent Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer that came out.
Yes.
And I think everyone, like after the first trailer, when we had that garbage Sonic design, I think nobody had any expectations going into this second trailer and the redesign. But when actually seeing it, I'm really excited about this movie.
Yeah, me too actually, because I remember when I think this is the case for a lot of people. When I first saw the original trailer, I could not focus on the movie at all because Sonic looked so fucking hideous that it was taking up all my mental capacity to look at him. Now though, when he actually looks like Sonic and not some, I don't know, even like alien. I mean, it's supposed to be some kind of alien, I guess, but
yeah.
He looks like the video game character Sonic. Now that he actually looks like that, I can focus on the rest of the trailer. And I think, should we just go through our opinions about what we're expecting?
Yeah, just quickly first. Well, Carl, what do you think?
I don't like Sonic at all, so I don't have any strong opinions on the movie. But I respect them for actually going back and changing the design. Because I didn't really... the design was ugly, don't get me wrong, but I didn't really care. Because I didn't really care about the movie. But especially now seeing the two designs compared side by side, yeah, the first one was really garbage. I think I compared it to a dude in a bad Sonic the Hedgehog suit, but it also was obviously CGI, so it was even worse on top of that.
Yeah.
Because that's what it looked like. He looked like a human in a bad bodysuit, but he also looked fake.
He looked like The Rock in The Scorpion King. Or no, not the Scorpion King, in The Mummy, where he plays the Scorpion King.
Yep.
Because he's computer animated in a movie from like 2003 or something. But it's still just The Rock.
That scene is amazing. But yeah, I for one am probably gonna be forced to see the movie with you. But I have no real opinion. I can respect, like I said, I can respect them for making a proper Sonic. He's actually really small in the movie compared to the humans.
Yeah.
And what I am excited about, if anything, for the movie is Dr. Eggman, played by Jim Carrey. I'm so bad at him.
Jim Carrey. Yeah, I really like the redesign. I think they went a little bit too far into the cartoony territory. I think they could have kept a little, like some elements of the more realistic anatomy. They could have kept like the arms Like not as drastic as they were in the original design, but at least like let us see like a little bit of the musculature in the arm, because right now they're just straight up tubes.
Yeah,
and it's a little bit it just doesn't, like, that's something that I like that they did with the original design, was that they try to make him a little bit more realistic. Like if you look at the Detective Pikachu movie, like look at like Charizard. Charizard has musculature in his arms, and he doesn't have that in his original
design. It's also like scaly, like actually scaly and not smooth.
Yeah, so like with that one, they tried to implement it where they could do it, and I think while they went too far with the original design, they could have been some, like, at least that the top of the arm is thicker than the bottom. Right now, it's just the same width for the entire arm. So, but other than that, I think the design is just way better. And I would say if I had to pick one of the two, obviously I'm picking the new one.
That's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I can agree.
It's a very, very good redesign.
But we did talk about the whole comparing it to Detective Pikachu, because Detective Pikachu is also a game set in the a movie set in the real world, and it's actual actors acting with Pokemons.
Yeah.
So the whole, like, instead, this is what they do with the new Sonic design, is not designing what they would think a Sonic the Hedgehog in real life would look like, but designing Sonic the Hedgehog for real life.
Yeah.
Like, it's a small difference, but it's also really big.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of making a real hedgehog look like Sonic, they took Sonic's design and made it realistic.
I still love the memes about just taking a hedgehog and making it blue and be like, oh, Sonic the
Hedgehog. I also have a few things to say about the trailer. I like that comparison with Detective Pikachu, mostly because, okay, they're both video game movies released in this recency. I mean, the Sonic movie, of course, isn't out yet, but as we record this. But one parallel that I liked is that, now correct me if I'm wrong, but the Pokemon designs for Detective Pikachu, they were designed by this guy who he made a bunch of viral illustrations on the internet about quote unquote realistic Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got a job designing the Pokemon for that movie, and he did an amazing job. I think the CGI Pikachu from Detective Pikachu is fucking great.
Yeah, it is really good.
He looks exactly like how I envisioned it, except, you know, with the detective business. But it's actually quite a fun comparison, because the guy who did the redesign for Sonic, I just learned today, he's the guy who made the Nipples the Echidna cartoons.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, I mean they're not called that. It's just Sonic. But Knuckles was called Nipples the Echidna or Echidna, and that's what you remember. He's gonna beat you up with his fist nipples.
Okay, but he is it's Tyson Hesse, and he's
exactly.
He's known for a lot of things in the Sonic community. I think he started out making just fan comics and stuff like that, and then he was hired to actually draw the real Sonic comic.
Yes.
And then he was also hired to do the intro for Sonic Mania. So he was the one, along with another studio, that animated that sequence. And then, because people loved that so much, they created Sonic Mania Adventures, which it was like these animated shorts that he animated. And then they also did the same thing for Team Sonic Racing.
Yeah.
So he's done a lot of things in the Sonic community, and people really love his interpretation of Sonic's design.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not the biggest Sonic fan. Like, I played most of them, but I think he does a good job in, like, actually portraying the community and what they see in Sonic, like what they want from a Sonic design.
Yeah.
Because he definitely looks like Sonic now. You can't take that away, even if you think, I agree that they might have gone a little too overboard on the cartoony, but it's still a massive improvement over the original one. Speaking of the redesign as well, I'd like to point out that there was this, not really a controversy because it never really bubbled up, but there was this conspiracy theory that this entire thing was a marketing ploy.
That's such a waste of time and effort, though, for just having a marketing ploy, because even if the first design is like objectively terrible, it still takes a lot of man hours to make an animation to that degree, because just looking at the texture and animation, all that stuff, they were good for what they were.
Yeah.
So that's
just
a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah,
and
like just
money.
technically, like it was a well animated character.
Yeah.
Yes, and like the textures were good. Just the model was trash, but what they used the model for and the technical aspects of that was really good. So I don't think that's like it wasn't a conspiracy. They just made a terrible Sonic model.
Yeah, I think this is more an example of a company actually listening to the consumers. Because not only is this conspiracy theory, because I'm going to call it that, because it is that, it's not anything real. It not only is extremely dumb, I'm going to say that.
Yeah. It also undermines the work. that was made.
Exactly. It really undermines the work all the 3D artists put into this movie, because when they decided that, or rather when they heard that the public response to the original model or the original design, they really had to backpedal because they had to redesign the main character of the movie.
Yeah, you have to think about it that way. Like the entire movie was shot thinking he was going to look like that. And like there are anatomical differences and everything. So I'm sure there was not just like swap the model and reanimate it and stuff. Like there's probably some digital stuff that has to be done to make sure that they're not like tapping in the air or something like that. You know, like
and stuff like where they're looking.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of differences that had to be made there.
There's also the problem with how people reacted at the first Sonic design too, and how, because that's the big problem, is that people on the internet, especially when they're a fan of something, a lot of those people get really, really heated when it comes to stuff they don't like.
Yeah.
So they were not having they weren't, like, it's fine to not like and be disappointed, but it's not fine to be like a heap of toxic like waste.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people actually became because of this.
Yeah, and like that conspiracy theory just really screams like angry internet fans, like because
who don't know anything about the actual
production.
workings.
The actual production process. Like they think the changing the design is just like, and it's done.
It's such a typical thing for everything.
Yeah.
Like, the armchair, in this case, the armchair movie maker or armchair character modeler. Like you have, those people have probably never touched a 3D program in their lives.
Imagine finishing rigging the original Sonic model and being like, okay, finally, I'm fucking done with my job. I can go home with my paycheck now. And then you get called in a few months later and they say, yeah, we're redesigning the character.
How much from the beginning?
Yeah.
So that's a nightmare.
One thing that's interesting too is that like after people started hating on this model, it came out that the actual, like the people who were working on the model, they said that we don't want it to look like this, but the executives were like, we have to make him more realistic.
Yeah.
It's always the executives.
Yeah.
And then they were the immense. The original design was universally condemned. Like no one liked that design.
Yeah.
So it was funny. Like when the trailer came out, I tweeted, "This looks pretty good," and initially like that was that was like, I obviously didn't like the design, but I actually liked what I saw from the movie itself, looking past the design. But like, if you also look at it, like, it can definitely come off as a really sarcastic tweet.
It looked, yeah. I think I just thought about in that, and this doesn't it obviously doesn't only have to do with Sonic, but the whole thing with executives stepping in saying, we want this. The question is, has that ever in anything, when they've done that and the change has gone through, ever been a positive change? Because I can't think of a single example of when the executive stepped in and said, we should do this, and it wasn't terrible.
So I think there has to
I can
be.
think of literally one.
Okay.
And that's when the executives who worked on Lost decided to step in and actually say, no, we're making 6 seasons. And then they realized, okay, we can actually take the story forward now. Because before that, it was flashback episodes of Jack's tattoos. And after that, the show became good again.
I'm just reminded of the Batman vs. Superman thing, because that movie, I like that movie. I unironically like that movie. However, there are a lot of problems with that. And turns out, surprise to no one, the executive steps in and said, we don't want this, take it away, and then they cut half the movie.
Yeah.
So that's why it's such a weird, like, cutting of it. And the same thing with, like, Kojima games. Except, on the other hand, I don't know how crazy Death Stranding is. So, I don't know how crazy a unhinged Kojima with no one to reel him back in is. So, who knows?
Yeah, I think it's, like, a little bit too much to just kind of lay out this general statement of, like, executives don't know shit.
Yeah.
But like, usually
It
happens a lot of times.
Usually you want to just let experts do what they're good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially now when there's such, like, even if there are examples of good times that the thing got better because executive came in with their opinion and said, we are going to change this. There are so many more examples of when it didn't work at all. That's when I'm starting to wonder, why can't you see that people don't like when people that have no idea what they're doing is deciding how a thing is made?
Before we move on from the Sonic movie, I like to... We've only really discussed the design.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little about the actual movie.
Yeah.
About what it looks like. Like, okay, I'm going to start with this. I'm happy that Jim Carrey is doing stuff because I fucking love Jim Carrey. He's such a funny actor, and it feels like, what's the last movie Jim Carrey was in? Like, I want to say Kick-Ass 2. It can't be that long ago.
No, he just really changed the kind of movies that he makes. He was, I think he said that he was like really tired of doing that character, but he was definitely like typecasted a lot as just that like comedy character. And I think what I really like about the Sonic movie is that he's coming back to that kind of character. And I mean, one of the best lines in the trailer is when he's like really happy, he's dancing around, and his lackey comes in. It's like, I thought you want a latte, and he was like, yes, I would love a latte. I love the way you make them.
Doesn't he get really surprised though?
Yeah.
The last movie was Dark Crimes from 2016 as Tarek. Wow. I have not seen that movie.
I haven't seen the movie. I've seen the poster.
Before that,
it has a meta score of 24, by the way.
Yeah.
Oof. So probably the last proper movie, but Dumb and Dumber 2 was terrible too.
Yes.
As far as I know. Yeah, like Anchorman.
Yeah, but he was a cameo Anchorman. So basically, Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, because I'm such a big fan of him. Like, I feel like the Truman Show is like the perfect combination of what he wanted to do and what he got to do. If you've seen that movie,
it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's really good. But yeah, I feel that the story of the movie is probably it will most likely be fairly lackluster, but it will also probably be very fun.
I expect it to be like the reaction is gonna be like to Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
The movie itself, as a movie, is probably not gonna be like good or anything worth talking about. But if you're a fan of Sonic movies, if you're a fan of Sonic, you're probably gonna like this movie. The same way I really like Detective Pikachu because I'm a really big fan of Pokemon.
We won't talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield this podcast, by the way.
No,
yeah,
it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet. We're recording this on Thursday. I'm planning to release it on Saturday, so it will be out by the time this podcast is live. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we don't really have a lot to say besides the usual stuff. And, I feel that
Team Sobel. That's all I have to say.
Team Score Bunny.
Yeah, and Team Grookey, like we make a good trio here.
See, I'm objectively better than Dennis now because I have a Sobel and Sobel is a water type.
Yeah, but then I win against you. Okay, whatever. We said we're not going to talk about Pokemon.
I know. I'm just
we will be talking about our impressions of Pokemon Sword and Shield and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order next week.
Yes.
So yeah, anything else about the Sonic trailer?
I had one thing.
I also have one more thing, so you first.
No, you first, because I have to think.
I saw someone put a tweet out that compared. In the beginning, Sonic has this monologue about, I came from my world, and now I'm in your world, and I try to live here. And in his world, they're in Green Hill Zone. And apparently and looking at the pictures, yes, it's a really accurate recreation of Green Hill Zone, but in 3D real version. It's really cool, and I love because that shows they probably didn't put it together just for the new model. That probably was a thing from before.
Yes. Yeah.
So that shows that they care. Because if they didn't care, they wouldn't have put together an accurate representation of the Green Hill Zone, which is probably the most memorable Sonic level ever. And in a realistic setting. So I can respect the creators of the movie because it seems like they at least someone cares.
Yeah, they care about the fans.
Yeah.
The fact that they backed on the original design is just proof of that.
You have to have a lot of respect for them for actually just listening to the fans after they said no.
Yeah.
To what they made.
Yeah. You pretty much had my thoughts as well, so let's move on. I think.
Yeah, so the next thing we're going to talk about is that Apple just announced the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. And this is, if anyone is into this this space of technology, you know that it is replacing the previous 15-inch MacBook Pro, which has been plagued with thermal throttling a lot.
Yeah.
So I have the 13-inch here, and you can look at it and see that where are the fans?
Fans.
Here, the fans are in here, under the in the monitor hinge, and you can just imagine so this one doesn't have a dedicated GPU, but the 15-inch model has. So you can just imagine what happens if you stuff an i7 or an i9 processor and then a dedicated GPU into this. Where does the hair go? Yeah. It doesn't go anywhere. That's the answer. So, one of the things that you could do with the 15-inch MacBook Pro was you could put it in a freezer and get better performance.
That's pretty funny. So it's a very expensive radiator.
Yeah. So basically, if what macOS would limit the processor from overheating, obviously, otherwise the computer would be damaged. So when you put it into the freezer, it would never reach that heat limit. So it would perform better, which is extremely hilarious.
It's insane.
Yeah. So the new 16-inch model has a way better heat dissipation system and everything. The entire thing has been reworked, and it still has a very slim, very beautiful chassis, which is really cool. So this one, instead of a 15-inch, it's a 16-inch screen, and it actually has a variable refresh rate, but it doesn't go above. It goes between, I believe it goes between 60 hertz and down to 47 hertz. So it's a small difference, but it's probably like useful for people who do movies and video and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's way better. The bezels on the screen are smaller. Performance is better. You can spec it up to 8 terabytes of SSD storage.
And
that's a lot of money.
we actually did the math, or rather we went into the Apple store and checked how much it would be. we managed to jank up the price of this computer to 80,000 Swedish crowns.
That's about 8,000 euros.
Or
Or like
dollars.
$10,000, I think.
Yeah.
No, it's basically the same.
8,000 euros / dollars /
Yeah, so it can
800,000 yen.
can get very expensive, and you can just see all over this thing how they've actually listened to what people want in a laptop. Because another thing that has gotten a lot of criticism over since they did this redesign in 2016 is the keyboard. So this is using the redesigned butterfly switch keyboard, and it has very low travel. It's kind of a clacky keyboard.
Yeah, you hear that sound.
Yeah. And it obviously doesn't take up a lot of space, which is really good in a laptop. The problem is that the keys are not very good.
Yeah.
So they've often been plagued with keys that get stuck, that get like dirt under them so you can't press them, or just getting double presses from keys. Like I have that problem with my space bar. So there's actually a user-made program in macOS that places a delay on every key input. So that way I can use the space key without having double spaces.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
No, that's some Bethesda stuff.
Yeah.
Releasing broken stuff and the people using it fixing it.
The users will fix it. They will
I have
it
a
out.
question as someone who doesn't own a single piece of Apple thing.
Don't you have an iPhone? No, you don't. You
No,
have
I don't
Android.
have an Android now.
Samsung.
Because my last iPhone sucked. But whatever. As someone who isn't a fan of iPhone and frankly do not care about Macs, especially not laptop Macs, why should I buy it? Or do they even care about the consumers that haven't bought into Apple yet?
So yeah, that's really the thing, right? Because they have, like I would say, the previous Mac models were made for people that wanted a Mac.
Yes.
I bought this laptop because, well, I think it's the most beautiful laptop in the industry. It has a large trackpad.
It is.
It is, yeah. And it runs macOS. I wanted to get away from Windows, so I got this thing. I think this new 16-inch model, and I would imagine the next 13-inch model would get some of these features as well, which probably would come out next year. It has a lot of things that would be attractive to people that aren't necessarily Mac users.
Yeah, they actually, in the marketing campaign for this laptop, they had a bunch of people from different professions, and they had examples from the game industry.
Yeah,
and
a Unity developer.
Yeah, I felt that was like, how cool.
Yeah.
Because well, at least the three of us can really relate to developing video games.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. I'm using a Windows computer right now, but I'm doing it against my will. It's only because it's mainly because of video games, to be completely honest. But I would prefer to buy a MacBook Pro. I personally think that this one would be really good for me because I am a fan of bigger laptops. I'm not a fan of the price though.
Yeah.
So I'm probably gonna wait some time.
That's a really hard buy for someone like me, because I like Windows, I like PC, and I don't like laptops at all, because I want stuff that normal computers has that laptop doesn't have, like a proper numpad. I really like a numpad. So when I see the price of now, I know that 80,000 kronor is like the end, like the maximum.
Yeah, that's the absolute maximum.
That's the absolute maximum.
That includes Logic Pro and Final Cut as well.
Yeah.
And the Apple Care as well.
Yes.
That's when I think about 80,000 kronor. I just think I have never bought for anything that's more expensive than like 6,000. That's the most expensive thing I've ever bought in my
obviously
life.
you wouldn't spec it that. Like
Yeah.
the base model.
That's for insane people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about the price for one MacBook. Even at the lower end, they were really expensive in the beginning too. They were like 20,000.
Yeah, so the base model 16-inch is $2,399. The base model 13-inch is $1,299.
That was a big difference.
Yeah.
10,000 for 3 inches.
Yes.
That's what she said.
So, but that's the thing. Like, when you buy a laptop, there are going to be sacrifices, especially when you buy a laptop with this slim of a form factor.
Yeah.
Like, you can get really high performance laptops, but they will be very thick. They will make a lot of noise because they have large fans and everything.
Yeah, I've seen those. Those are like monsters.
Yeah.
I just think I'm not the person they're selling this to, because I just frankly don't like laptops.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Because what I was going at was, when I see the price, all I can think of is, for that price, I can get the best fucking PC that I will ever own. Not ever own, but will own in like the next 10, 15 years.
The best PC you will ever own relative to the time that you bought it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you want 8 terabytes of SSD storage?
I have never used 8 terabyte of storage for anything ever.
I don't think anyone has.
Yes, another guy
have.
that you know went up to us about like, yeah, I filled my 5 terabyte disk. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, there's a lot of people that use a lot of storage, but I am not one of those. I have a 2 terabyte HD, and it sucked because it's an HDD, but I need it for like, it's my bookshelf more or less.
Yeah.
I haven't filled it. I still have almost 1 terabyte of storage left in that.
Yeah.
And I install a lot of stuff. I have a lot of games, like a ridiculous amount of games, and I still have a lot of space on that.
Yeah, on my computer at home, I have, I believe, 1 terabyte HDD, as well as 512 gigs of SSD. On the SSD, I practically only have the Windows folder and League of Legends.
Yeah. Well, you only play League of Legends on this computer anyway.
Yeah, it's basically the only game I play, period.
That's why you have it on the SSD.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a small SSD, you install the thing that you play the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except when you're me that plays a game that's about 120 gigabytes large. Because expansions.
Final Fantasy 14 is pretty hefty on the hard drive.
Yeah. But when I upgrade my computer, I'm gonna get a big SSD, because I really want the fast boot times. Anyway.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So I would say, I would probably imagine that a lot of people listening to this are not necessarily in the Apple space. And this might sound like it is overpriced. I would argue that it is not. Because even if you compare it to laptops in like cheaper laptops in the Windows space, like, they will not have this form factor. They will not have a lot of the other features that this thing has, and they cram it into such a small space, and that jacks the price.
Yeah.
Like, that just naturally jacks the price up.
And that's the thing about Apple. I can concede, even as someone who doesn't care that much for like brands, I can concede that Apple is really good with their whole experience thing, and they make, for what the phone or computer or whatever does, they make it look really good and really slim, and they make a lot of stuff work in a small space. And that's why they've always been the more expensive choice. It's also the whole branding thing, because a lot of people like being like Apple fans. You, for example. Like, I know I might give you shit, but it's your choice.
Yeah.
And you're an example of you are just one example of a lot of people who really likes Apple, and that's completely fair. So, because I don't know where I was going with this thought. It derailed in my head before I even derailed it here.
Yeah, I can say it quickly. I agree that it's not overpriced, but I think that no human being needs all of this.
No one needs all of that.
The only thing that I'm missing, like I like 13-inch laptops because they're like small and compact and everything, but the one thing that I'm missing in my MacBook is a dedicated GPU. As someone who is in the games industry, like I would love to be able to run Unreal on this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I could run Unreal on it, but it's not going to run very well.
Yeah. It barely runs on my computer at home. It's fairly intensive.
Yep. But Unreal is like the high-end stuff.
Yeah.
So
don't use Unreal. Use Unity. Save yourself.
That depends on what you're gonna do. But if you're like us, don't use Unreal.
So yeah, let's move on. So one of the really cool announcements that happened, I think today, was Motorola finally announced their rumored folding phone, and I don't know if it was a leak or if they actually showed pictures of a concept earlier, but from the moment I saw it, I was like, that is what a folding phone should be. So if you're not familiar with folding phones, like the most high profile one is the Samsung Galaxy Fold. And that was plagued by a lot of production issues and everything because...
Wasn't that the phone with the screen cracked if you dragged on a thing that looked like a piece of scrap?
Yeah.
So that one had a lot of issues, and it's basically all related to Samsung's obsession with being first with everything.
They cut a lot of costs on the Samsung Fold.
Yeah. So that was basically take your smartphone that you have right now, and then you duplicate it, place a second one above it, stretch it out a lot so it's like really long, and then you place a screen on both of the inside and one 4-inch screen on the outside, and that is the Samsung Galaxy Fold. It is not a pretty device, in my opinion.
No,
it's
absolutely horrible.
Because I want to look it up. On my Samsung Galaxy S10.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it had a lot of issues when you folded it up because the screen is made of plastic and not glass.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of issues. Like if you scratched on the screen with your fingernail, it would leave a mark.
Yeah.
If you scratch on a glass screen with your fingernail, nothing's gonna
this
happen.
monster. I forgot
Yeah.
that this thing was a thing. I have my opinions on folding phones. That's gonna make me sound like I'm 50 years older than I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally, I think the folding phone market is like, we're only doing this because we can.
Yeah.
And that is the feeling that I felt with the Galaxy Fold. I don't really see the practical purpose of it, but that's why I think the Motorola Razr is really cool because
it's a flip phone.
They're bringing back the flip phones and instead just making it a foldable screen.
Yeah.
I, for one, think that we're regressing when it comes to phones because flip phones is a thing of the past. And when I say I have opinions about it, it's going to make me sound 50-year-old is because I think that folding phones are a necessary gimmick.
Yeah, but I actually have a differing opinion on this. I think I pretty much think the opposite. I think that the Samsung Galaxy phone, while it is a shit product, I think that if they had waited and actually done more research, it would have been better. Because the natural progression of cell phones initially was to make them foldable. Like the Motorola Razr, it makes me think of like the classic flip phones of old, like the ones where you had the IR and you had to send your friends funny songs over when you had crafts class or whatever. So I personally feel that now the Motorola Razr is of course an Android phone, but I still think that it sort of encapsulates the best parts about the modern smartphone and the flip phone.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a thing with the Motorola that where you just press a button and it literally becomes a flip phone.
Yeah.
Which I found really funny because it completely makes my opinion of it correct. It's just a flip phone, a glorified flip phone.
What I really love about it is that, yes, is the fold really useful? Probably not. But in this case, they really tried to nail the satisfaction behind flipping up your phone. And that was something that they worked a lot about with this, is that they really wanted you to be able to flip it up, and it would be able to take that force, while the Samsung Galaxy Fold is one that you have to carefully open, or it's probably gonna snap or something.
Because if you pulled on it too hard, it would just break.
Yeah,
probably.
But this one is designed to just probably after you've worn in the folding mechanism a little bit, you can probably just flip it up with just
I
with
would
the
be way too scared to do that because I wouldn't want to break my phone, especially since it doesn't do the whole flip phone thing where it's kind of bent. It's completely flat. So I would be scared doing that and I'm just cracking it off, which is a really funny thought, but it's also probably a really expensive phone.
Yeah.
But what's the price tag on it actually?
I don't. Okay, so it's $1,500.
Okay, I'm not buying it.
No,
I think a lot of people are buying it.
Yeah, so the thing is, and for context, the iPhone 10 is $1,000. So it is very expensive. But
I bought my computer for less than that.
Yeah, but that is because it's using this foldable technology, which is not cheap, and it also has two screens. It's one on the inside and one on the outside.
I do really like the outside screen.
Yeah.
I think it's a very nice detail.
This is a question I have about generally. I'm sorry if I'm asking a lot of questions and not bringing a lot to the table because I don't really care a lot about this stuff.
Yeah, but
and my opinion of it are weird. Anyway, why are the newer phone also obsessed with having screens on the outside where I hold my hand? Because that feels really uncomfortable. Like the phone I have now is not the S10. I lied because I didn't remember which phone I have. It's the S9 and that's bent screen.
Yeah.
And that's extremely annoying. If I could change one thing with my phone, it's not having the bent screen because my hands sometimes touch stuff on the screen that I don't want to touch.
Yeah. That is one of the things that I really dislike about the since they introduced the Samsung Galaxy Edge. It's just why bring the screen onto the sides? That's what I hold the phone.
Yeah, there's literally no purpose for it.
It's so stupid.
It doesn't even look good.
Yeah, you hold it and it's oh wow, it curves around the screen. Who cares?
I want a flat black phone that doesn't make me offended. I'm really enthusiastic and passionate about this, but I really dislike the phone that you really like that you use. I don't remember if it was the iPhone 10 or something.
Yeah.
That has a stupid thing down in the middle that destroys screen space.
The notch.
The notch. I don't like that. I just want. I'm passionate about simple phones.
I really don't care about the notch.
Another quick.
I do.
Comparison to the Samsung phone. I don't really recall, but Samsung wasn't really in the phone game when the flip phones were popular. They came in later.
Yeah.
At the inception of the smartphones in general is when Samsung came along.
Yeah.
So I think that the reason that the Samsung Fold didn't really work out is because they must have thought about flip phones, but I don't really think they had the right mindset about it.
Yeah.
They just wanted to make the new product, while Motorola, they made flip phones. They know about the business.
Yeah.
I feel that that's sort of an underlooked detail that adds some nuance to the entire comparison. And that's why the Motorola phone looks much better.
Yeah. I mean, I could have a long discussion about Samsung and Apple, but generally I found that Samsung doesn't really think very deeply about their design, Like, for example, I think I mentioned to you once, like, they recently announced their new laptops
Yeah.
that have a wireless charger on them, so you can charge your phone. And where is it? It's on the trackpad, the one thing that you use to interact with your laptop. It's like, did you think twice about that? It's just
Yeah.
like, they don't seem to think very hard about their design decisions. They think more about, can we be before Apple with it? Like, for example, like one of the first smartwatches was the pretty bad Samsung Galaxy Gear watch or something like that. I had it. It was bad. And then like years later, Apple came with the Apple Watch, which is really good. But yeah, we've talked about this a long time, and I could go on even longer about it, but let's not.
Well, we're running out of time because both me and Leo has to leave a bit earlier than we expected to, so we have to kind of wrap it up, and we will continue about our interesting discussions about games that we played this week, and we can give a little hint to what it was. It was a game called Stretchers.
Yeah,
that's a game.
Yeah, we played the Stretchers, which was like this game that Nintendo just dropped out of nowhere, and
very strange how they did that, actually.
Yeah, it's actually a Swedish game. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, Swedish game published by Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's good for us.
Monka S, as you say.
Yeah. And I also want to talk about New Super Lucky's Tale, a game that I really recommend. But we'll talk about those in the next episode.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.